My sister is such a freeloader. I thought I could trust her with my daughter, who, by the way, has a handicap. She was born mute. Well, I asked my sister to please just watch my daughter for a few hours while I'm at work, since you know I cook for you and I give you a place to live when nobody else would. Get this, I live in Minnesota. She decides to kick my daughter out of the house because she says she's had it with her and she needs some sleep. Guys, it was freezing cold outside and I get an urgent call from the police telling me this.
Hey guys, my name's Linda, and I really want to share my story with you all. I'll start off by explaining why I'm writing this. Sharing my personal matters on social media or with strangers is not really my thing. Regardless, I'm choosing to make an exception just this once, and I'm not posting for any attention, pity, or sympathy, I promise. Having said that, I would really like to hear what you all have to say about this. I, for the longest time, have been a flag bearer of spreading kindness and helping others. I even watch videos on the internet that promote these ideas, even though, yeah, they're cliché. Watching them is my guilty pleasure to pass the time. I've been through tough times, and therefore I know that one small act can affect someone's life. It could be as small as giving your seat to someone visibly tired. And the message I want to convey is be kind, but not at your own expense. Let me tell you more about myself. I live in Minnesota, with my daughter Lisa, who's 8. Lisa's my beautiful baby girl, and she's everything I'd ever hoped for. God put all the love in the world into her, but did not give her a voice. She was born mute. There are so many hardships to raising a child with a disability. What also is hard is being a single mother. I have to endure the pain of both worlds. My whole family and extended family live in the same town in another state, so I was pretty much alone. I moved to Minnesota with my husband Sam, and he left us when Lisa was 6 months old, and he never told me why, and he never tried to contact us. I did not have the time to dwell on it. I'm a nurse and a full-time mom. I don't have a single minute to spare because I need to give my daughter the best life I can. I did not put my daughter in a special education school so that her life can be close to a normal kid's life. The school she goes to has a special educator who helps her and a few other special children in their school. I've also enrolled her in music and art classes to keep her busy. She really loves music and uses it as a way to express herself. I have to live near the school since they have a special educator that knows sign language, so prices are pretty high as it's near the town center. I barely manage to pay bills and have to try extremely hard to save here and there. I want to work on my dating game, but I definitely do not have the time. I'm also very cautious about Lisa, so I generally keep the guys I'm with away from her until I'm really, really sure. Well, the two of us lived a pretty calm, peaceful, and uneventful life until one day my sister showed up. I was ecstatic upon seeing her, and I had not seen anyone in my family for such a long time. Sarah is 22 and the youngest of us 6 siblings. She is also the youngest out of all the cousins, so you know she's very pampered throughout her life. Sarah wasn't really keen on completing her education, so she dropped out and became a hairdresser. She was her mood swings, and she's been quitting all the jobs that she's been on for petty reasons. And to top off, my family members support her decisions and keep telling her to do what makes her happy. They aren't realizing that they're spoiling her. Sarah spent more time being unemployed than going to work, and for the past few years, she's constantly been moving from, one relative's house to another. She would go to any of my other siblings' houses whenever she liked, or to my uncles and aunties. She would not contribute to any of the household expenses, even if she did have a job. Most of her money went into paying back her friends and the rest on shopping, and eventually everyone was tired of her and annoyed. They had to find ways to drive her out without hurting her feelings. And my parents do pamper Sarah, but they're a little conservative and very religious. Sarah does not prefer staying at my parents' house, even though they're okay with her not working. The only person in my family who talks to me and keeps me up to date with the gossip is my other sister, Layla, who's a stay-at-home mother. She occasionally calls me to ask me about how Lisa's doing, and no one really stays in touch. I made Sarah a cup of tea, and she told me why she was here. Sarah quit her job again. She said that she was allergic to the specific product the salon uses, and this time no one would take her in, and everyone gave her different reasons why they could not accommodate her. Sarah said that since she's tried her luck everywhere in town, she wanted to try somewhere else. She feels that Minnesota might be the perfect place for her to work. She needed a place to stay while she looked for work and asserted that she would be staying at ours. I didn't say anything against it, as I thought that a few days would not harm anything, and judging by what Layla told me about her, I did not think she'd find a job quickly, but I can't say no to her since she's traveled so far. She also probably has nowhere to go now, or why else would she come to my house? My apartment is extremely cramped. It only has one bedroom and the rooms aren't very big, and I gave Lisa the bedroom and slept on the couch, and Sarah said that she wanted the bedroom to herself. I wanted to do all I could to make her feel welcome, so me and Lisa had to sleep in the living room, and I tucked Lisa into the bed that night and told her that it was only for a couple of days. I explained to her that her aunt is our guest for a couple days and we had to be accommodating. The next morning, Sarah started complaining about how my daughter's very rude and would not talk to her. I told Sarah that she could not talk and was mute since birth. I condemned her for not knowing about my daughter. I told her that she was being insensitive and that she needed to be a little compassionate towards my daughter. I gave Sarah a set of keys to my home and handed her a list I made for all the salons I know about nearby. I reluctantly left the house with Sarah to drop off Lisa at school and then go to work. At work, I was constantly worried. I feared Sarah would be an obstacle to my busy routine, and money was a little tight. After getting off from work, I picked Lisa up from her after-school music class and ran home. I discovered that Sarah had not gone out to look for work at all and had been watching daytime television all day. She told me she was hungry and that I need to fix dinner ASAP. Oh, I quickly started cooking as well as doing my chores, and I was extremely tired, and Sarah made no effort at all to help. Lisa wanted to watch TV, but she would not budge and give the remote up. I was too tired to argue and told Lisa, just do something else. So Lisa starts drawing pictures. She likes to show off her drawings when they're done, and when Lisa showed her drawings to Sarah, she laughed at the drawings, saying that the drawings were absolutely terrible. Well, this made Lisa very upset. I shouted at Sarah and made her apologize, and I reminded her that she needed to behave around my daughter. Sarah said that I need to be honest with my daughter and tell her that her drawings are crappy. She was not a mom, and I just assumed she would not understand how you handle such a baby. Well, we all had dinner and then went to bed. For the next couple of days, the same routine followed, and Sarah would not go to find work, nor did she ever do chores at home. It was an inconvenience to me. I had to do her laundry, clean out the drain she kept clogging, and make food for her too. So, I asked her why she has not gone to look for work yet, and she said that I was being a real jerk by expecting her to go out all on her own in a brand new place. She wanted me to come with her just to show her around. I was shocked at the amount of entitlement that she had, and I refused to show her around and told her I was busy. Lisa then signed that I should show Sarah around and we could go all day. And I agreed, for Lisa's sake. I had the day off, so I postponed my errands and took Lisa and Sarah out. We visit Melissa, the hairdresser, and I normally go to. When we arrived at her salon, Sarah looked very unimpressed. She went on to comment that the place was shabby and not aesthetic. Melissa was surprised to hear that, and I could see the blood drain from her face. The whole situation was absolutely embarrassing. Sarah would not stop finding faults, and even told me not to come here ever again. Well, I defended Melissa by saying that I love her work and I'd never go anywhere else. Melissa said that they were already overstaffed and they didn't need anyone anyways, so we left the salon and I mouthed an apology to Melissa as I was leaving. I showed Sarah the rest of the places and I knew about, but I did not go in with her so that I don't have to be embarrassed even more. Sarah did not want to work at any of the places we went to. She kept finding faults in all of them, and she also insisted we go to a fancy restaurant Lisa wanted to go to. Sarah ordered so much food and even got drinks too. I was worried about the bill I was going to have to pay, and Lisa had a kid's meal. I did not want to eat as much because, well, honestly, I lost my appetite. Sarah did not even finish the food. I forced myself to eat as much as I could just to avoid waste. Lisa signed to Sarah that it was a bad habit to waste food. Well, I translated the sign language that she said, and Sarah just laughed at her. Lisa seemed confused, and it occurred to me that Sarah's spoiled and entitled behavior could be a really bad influence on my baby Lisa. We got home pretty late. It was past Lisa's bedtime, so I tucked her into bed and she instantly fell asleep. I took the opportunity to speak to Sarah about her careless way of living. I explained to her that everyone's unhappy with their job for some reason or the other, and that quitting jobs for insignificant reasons is simply unacceptable. The next day, she got ready to go out and look for a job. I had to give her some cash for her expenditure. I might sound like such a jerk, but all of the money I was burning on my sister was making me feel absolutely miserable. The same feeling made me feel guilty, well, because, after all, she was my sister. I was in emotional turmoil. I started resenting her, and I knew that if I said anything to her, she would misunderstand it and would ruin my relationship with her forever. It would also ruin what's left of the relationship I have with my other family members too. So, they all despise me because I married against their will. Sarah got back home very late that day, and she seemed so happy, so I asked whether she found a job or not. She giggled and went to narrate her day. She had found a guy who showed her around the whole day, and, well, they went to a club in the evening and he dropped her home. Sarah had spent all the money I gave her, which was enough to last for a week. I was completely disappointed. I wanted to kick her out that instant, but my blood boiled and my rage was reaching new heights. What she said next stunned me even more. She asked me to give her money to buy a new dress and go on another date, and I lashed out at her. I was trying so hard to keep my voice down so Lisa does not wake up, and I told her that I could not keep paying for her and that she had to get a job ASAP and leave. I explained how she was affecting our lives, and I even called her a selfish, spoiled brat. She screamed at me at the top of her voice and said I was the one being selfish by not helping her younger sister, who clearly is in need of help. She starts making these personal attacks and brought out everything from the past. She rendered me speechless, and I could not argue with her anymore. I asked her to sleep on the couch and let Lisa sleep on the bed. The couch was not as comfy and a safe place for Lisa to sleep. She started ranting about how small my house is and how I'm just doing all this to drive her out. I ignored her and went inside to sleep next to Lisa. The next morning was very difficult. Sarah kept making these faces and grunting for no reason, and I remained silent and went about my work. I had a night shift that day and was having a tough time getting a babysitter. Lisa's regular babysitter was sick, and I had no option but to have Sarah look after Lisa. She happily accepted and told me that she was not selfish like me. I rolled my eyes at her. She went about her regular watching of television shows the whole day, and her new love interest called her several times throughout the day. I thought to myself that he has to be as jobless as Sarah is to call so many times in a single day. I made dinner for Lisa and Sarah because I did not trust Sarah to cook. Sarah threw a tantrum while I was leaving for work because she did not like pumpkin pie. Oh, I was getting late, so I left without even listening to her. Sarah was furious. Lisa was just playing with her recorder, which just fanned the flames to Sarah's anger. She took all her anger out on Lisa. She broke Lisa's recorder and told her that she had to sleep on the couch because of Lisa. She told her that her muteness is just adding to Mommy's problems and that she should leave, and the house is not big enough for all of them anyways. All of this deeply upset Lisa and really scared her horribly. She picked up the telephone to call me but could not say anything. Sarah snatched the phone and made an excuse that she called to ask when she was coming back. Sarah took Lisa by the hand and kicked her out of the apartment. I wish Lisa had knocked on someone's door for help, but instead, she left the building to come to find me. She did not have a coat on, and it was biting cold. She tried to come to where I work, but she got lost. My poor baby was out on the streets in the cold winters of Minnesota. She could not ask for help because she couldn't talk. You would expect Sarah to go out to look for her, or at least call me. But no, she didn't. Instead, Sarah went to sleep. A few hours later, I received a distress call from the police. They said they found my child and had taken her to a nearby hospital. Well, I was confused. The description they gave matched Lisa's, and I rushed to the hospital she was in. At the time, I had no clue what had gone down, and the doctor said that she had hypothermia and some frostbite on her feet. The police informed me that they had found her on the steps of a toy shop 10 minutes away from my home. They interrogated me about the serious situation, and I told them I've gone to work and left Lisa with my sister. The doctors kept Lisa warm and treated her frostbite. Lisa had developed a severe cold. The doctors said they needed to keep an eye on her before they say it was safe to send her home. The police said that they need to ask a couple of questions to my sister. They went to my house and Sarah lied that she slept, and when she woke up, Lisa was nowhere to be seen. She told the police she had assumed that Lisa was with her mother and that I had come home and taken her to work. I took Lisa home. She was extremely sick and would not say anything to me at all. I still fought with Sarah about being irresponsible and was still clueless as to what actually happened. Lisa acted strange when Sarah was around her. I could sense that Sarah's presence was deeply upsetting Lisa. I started to suspect that something was off. When Lisa and I were alone in the bedroom, I asked Lisa if there was anything she needed to tell me. Well, tears flooded her eyes and rolled down her pale cheeks. She was almost choking, and she feebly signed everything that happened that day, and I was enraged. How dare she kick my daughter out of her own house? After everything I've done to her. I barged into the living room and screamed into Sarah's face, asking her why she did it. She said she was extremely sorry and that she was annoyed at the time. I told her that she had no right to take it out on Lisa, and that even if she did, for a split second, she should have gone out and looked for her and taken her back. She did not even call me and went to sleep. Not only did she kick Lisa out, but she lied to the police. Sarah tried to justify herself with absolutely ignored me. She said that everything's okay now and there's no need to fight over this. I immediately picked up the phone to call the police. At that point, I did not care if she was my sister. She put my daughter in a very unsafe situation, and my blood boils when I think of how the horrible things could have played out. When I dialed the police, Sarah took out a knife and said she would rather hurt herself than go to jail. I put down the phone immediately and asked her, Sarah, just put down the knife. I took her by the arm and dragged her across the room and flung her inside the apartment into the hallway. She fell front face on the ground, and, well, then I slammed the door shut. Sarah begged me to open the door and said she had no money, nowhere to go. Well, I packed all her stuff neatly and threw it out into the corridor and told her to Get lost. Sarah sat in the corridor for a couple hours, but eventually she left. She went to her new boyfriend's house and he refused to let her stay. Sarah did not know what to do, so she came back to my apartment to try to convince me to let her in again, and this time I did not give in. I could care less. She slept in the corridor for the night, using her luggage as pillows to keep her warm. Lisa was still unwell. She was traumatized by the whole event too, and every time I saw Lisa, the hatred for Sarah inside me grew. This kept me from taking her back in, and she slept in the corridor for one more night, and she left without saying anything. I didn't know where she went. I didn't care either, and I hope she's gone for good. Well, I realized that I was too kind and accommodating to Sarah, who is a nuisance, and I made so many mistakes. I did not set any boundaries. I didn't say no when I was supposed to, and I blindly trusted to look after my child. I realized that kindness should not have to cost you anything, and it definitely should not fill you with regret. For all of you who have a hard time saying no, this was for you. So, learn to say no and identify who's taking you for granted. Well, anyways, thanks for reading. I'm going to be looking forward to all your responses. What's up, everybody? Mr. Reddito here. So, I thought that was the end of the story. But in the comment section, I actually came across 2 updates. They're not very long, but oh boy, strap your seatbelts in because they get a little wild. If you're new to the channel, take a second, hit that subscribe button. Here is update number 1. Hey everyone, I'm posting this to reply to the majority of your comments. To all the people who commented that I compromised the safety of another woman by leaving her vulnerable on the streets, I know I treated my sister badly, but it was the heat of the moment kind of thing. It did occur to me at that point, what if something happened to her, or what if she got robbed, or even something bad could have happened? I dismissed those thoughts and made myself believe that what I did was right. I'm only human and I'm a mother. She put Lisa in that situation too, and she deserves whatever comes her way. And I believe that she'll be fine, but I hope she realizes what she's done. I hope she repents for her actions and the time makes amends for real. I don't think I'll ever hear from her again, to be honest. She's very stubborn, and now I'm the jerk in her story. Well, Layla called shortly afterward, and she told me that the real reason that Sarah came to Minnesota was that she was running away from debt. She owed so many people money, and they were all threatening her so that she would pay them back, and they all went to my parents to ask for the money or Sarah's whereabouts. My father, who's in his late 60s, was not very pleased, but he paid back the money Sarah had called home from someone's phone. My brother Jason came and picked her up. Until he arrived, she actually slept on a park bench. My parents called me to give me a piece of their mind after, apparently, how I treated Sarah so bad. I told them about what Sarah did to Lisa. Well, they were just as shocked as I was. Sarah's antics have troubled everybody. They gave her an ultimatum that she has to find work and leave her parents' house, or else they'll forcefully oust her. Well, it's never too late to mend. At least my family recognized the need to stop pampering her. The only thing that's left is for Sarah to change. To everybody who asked about Lisa, she's doing great. She felt so much better after her aunt left. Me and Lisa are now getting back to our normal lives as we were before. Well, a lot of you suggested I take Lisa to therapy after everything that happened. I took the advice and had a few sessions. It helped resolve other issues too. So thank you all for that. The sessions helped me understand that I needed to make her a strong communicator. Her disability was suppressing the voices inside her, and I don't want her to be a person who cannot communicate her needs. Update number 2. This is the final update. Hey guys, so I thought I'd add this in the comments. I've got more gossip about Sarah since a bunch of you are hooked. Sarah's friends had started avoiding her because of her issues with borrowing money and not returning it. She was not the kind of person who'd go out clubbing, to the movies, or to dinner on her own. She constantly needed to be praised by her friends, and everybody that she knows has cut her off. Everyone in the family starts avoiding her like the plague. Well, of course, she was not present at family dinners, but she was not invited to any of their individual plans. Everyone was distancing themselves from her. The fact that she was not the center of attention absolutely bothered her. The resulting loneliness was emotionally overwhelming for her to deal with. Sarah's entire existence depended on the validation and support of her friends and family. The huge change in her life can be equated to punishment. The boredom pushed her to pursue a livelihood that she had refused to do otherwise. She tried extremely hard to find a job, but everyone knew that she was not loyal. No one would take her because her track record is not a secret, and the places she worked at would not take her back no matter what. The same person who kept finding faults and leaving jobs for the tiniest of reasons was begging at their doorsteps. She knew she could not take back all the mean things that she said and done. The people she offended just watched and soaked in the satisfaction of seeing her suffer. Luckily, she finally started working at a small-time hairdresser. It didn't really match the vibe she was going for, but she didn't really have an option either. The place made her realize how good she had it. Her boss was not really skilled, but was extremely cruel to the staff. Sarah had to do the most of the work and got paid the least. The clients were very shady, and a lot of them would not even pay up. Well, she also caught lice from a client, which made it even worse. Karma. She was definitely not in the place that she hoped she'd be. She had no choice but to work since my father gave her an ultimatum. The salon was a demeaning place to work in, so she started working as a waitress instead, which she obviously struggled with no experience. She had finally learned the value of an opportunity and doing what you love. Her respect and passion for her career grew immensely. She started having dreams and future plans that she never really would find the time to think of. But now the gates to reach there seemed shut. She knew she could not leave town because it would just add to her loneliness. Sarah had always been pampered by everyone in the family. They all pitied her, but knew that they needed to let her be in order to teach her a lesson. I wish she would have made amends sooner. When she had the chance to, she would not be in this position if she did. Well, as for her older sister, I hope that a chance of redemption comes her way soon, and I hope she's learned her lesson. For real, this time.
At first, I was reading some of the comments before I narrated the story, so I didn't really know what was happening in this story yet. And I was wondering, why are all these comments absolutely destroying OP's sister? Well, when I realized she had the nerve to kick a little baby girl out into the cold, and she ends up with frostbite, lost and confused, looking for her mother, I don't know how OP held it together, and all she did was kick her out because, well, I would have gone to jail. Guys, let me know what you would have done if you found out this happened and, well, when you were at work with somebody that you trusted. Drop your comments down below. I hope you guys enjoyed the story. If you want more daily videos, the best way is just to hit the subscribe button and the bell notifications. That way, you'll get alerted whenever a new video comes out. It's cool to be kind. I'll catch you guys tomorrow.